everyone, welcome to Defense IAS Academy. The topic is banking. Banking is an industry that handles cash, credit and other financial transactions. Banks provide a safe place to store cash and credit. Let us move towards the other concepts under the banking. Here is the next topic is capital of the banks. How the bank is having their capital. It has been classified under 3 tiers. Tier 1. Term used to describe the capital adequacy of a bank. It can observe losses without a bank being required to cease trading. This is the core measure of a bank's financial strength from a regulator's point of view. This is the most reliable form of capital. Now the second one, Tier 2. A term used to describe the capital adequacy of a bank. It can absorb losses in the event of a winding up and so provides a lesser degree of protection to depositors. This capital is a measure of bank's financial strength from a regulator's point of view. Let us move towards the next tier, that is a Tier 3. A term used to describe the capital adequacy of a bank. Consider the tertiary capital of the banks which are used to meet or support market risk, commodities risk and foreign currency risk. It includes a variety of debts other than Tier 1 and Tier 2 capitals. Let us move further on other concepts under banking. The first one is stock of money. In every economy, it is necessary for the central bank to know the stock, means amount or level of money available in the economy. Only then it can go for suitable kind of credit and monetary policy. Credit and monetary policy, we have studied about it in the previous videos. RBI has published 4 monetary aggregates, means component of money, that is M2, M1, M2, M3 and M4. Sorry, it's M1. These are basically short terms of money for money 1, money 2, money 3 and money 4 besides the reserve money. These components are used to contain money of different liquidities as in explained further. M1 is equal to currency in coins with people plus demand deposits of bank, that is current and saving accounts plus other deposits of the RBI. These are the things counted under the M1, means money 1. And let us move towards the M2. M2 is equal to M1 plus demand deposits of the post offices, that is saving schemes money. Let us move towards the next money 3, M3, that is equal to M2 time divided by term deposits of the banks, that is the money lying in the recurring deposits and the fixed deposits. This is the money 3, means M3. Now the next one is the M4. M4 is equal to M3 plus total deposits of the post offices, that is both demand and term or time deposits. These are the stock of money. These are the, we can say, the types of stock of money. Now our next term is liquidity of money. As we move from M1 to M4, the liquidity of the money goes on decreasing and in the opposite direction the liquidity increasing. Now the next term is narrow money. In banking terminology, the term narrow money defined as it is highly liquid. Banks cannot run their lending programs with this money. Next concept we can say is the broad money. The money component M3, means money 3, is called the broad money in the banking terminology. With this money, banking run their lending programs. With this money, banks run their lending programs for a known period. Means for a known period they can run their lending programs. The next concept under the banking is the main one, that is money supply. In general discussion, we usually use money supply to mean money circulation, money flow in the economy. In banking and typically monetary management terminology, the level and supply of M3 is known as money supply. The growth rate of broad money means M3, that is money supply, was not only lower than the inductive growth set by the Reserve Bank of India or RBI, but it also witnessed continuous and sequential deceleration in the past 7 quarters. It's very much 7 quarters. Let us move further towards the other terms under the banking concept, that is the minimum reserve. The RBI is required to maintain a reserve equivalent of rupees 200 crores in gold and foreign currency with itself, of which rupees 115 crores should be in gold. Against this reserve, the RBI is empowered to issue currency to any extent. This is being followed since 1957 and is known as the minimum reserve system. We may call it as MRS. Our next concept is reserve money. The gross amount of the following 6 segments of money at any point of time is known as reserve money for the economy or the government. We have 6 types of reserve money. First one is RBI's net credit to the bank. Second, RBI's net credit to the government. Third, RBI's net credit to the commercial banks. Fourth, net forex reserve with the RBI. Fifth, government's currency liabilities to the public. Sixth, net non-monetary liabilities of the RBI. Adding all these 6 types, we get reserve money, and it is denoted as RM. You can see here RM is equal to 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. This is known as the reserve money. Let's move towards the other concept under banking, that is credit counseling. Advising borrowers to overcome their debt burden and improve money management skills is credit counseling. India's sovereign debt is usually rated by 6 major sovereign credit rating agencies of the world, which are there are 6 agencies. These are Fitch, FITCH, Fitch Ratings, Moody's Investors Service, Standard & Poor's, Dominion Bond Rating Service, Japanese Credit Rating Agency, and the last one is Rating and Investment Information of Tokyo. Now the another term is the credit rating. To assess the credit worthiness, that is credit record, integrity, capability of a prospective borrower to meet debt obligations is credit rating. Today it is done in the cases of individuals, companies and even countries. We all know about the NRIs. So we also have the deposits in our bank, and that is known as non-resident Indian deposits. Foreign Exchange Management Deposit Regulation 2000 permits non-resident Indians, means NRIs, to have deposit accounts with authorized dealers and with banks authorized by the Reserve Bank of India, means RBI, which include 3 types of accounts. First one is the FCNR, second is the NRE, third is the NRO. First is the FCNR, Foreign Currency Non-Resident Bank Account. These accounts can be opened by NRIs and overseas corporate bodies with an authorized dealer. These accounts can be opened in the form of term deposits only. Means FCNR are opened in the form of term deposits only. Second one is the non-resident external account, NRE account. These accounts are also opened by NRIs and overseas corporate, but with authorized dealers and with banks authorized by RBI. Form of these accounts are saving, current, recurring or fixed deposit accounts. Now the last one and the third one is the NRO, non-resident ordinary rupee account. These accounts can be opened by any person resident outside India with an authorized dealer or an authorized bank for collecting their funds from local bona fide transaction in Indian rupee. When a resident becomes NRI, his existing rupee accounts are designated as NRO. Form of these accounts opening are as same as NRE, means the form of these accounts are saving, current, recurring or fixed deposit accounts. Now let us move towards the main concept of banking, that is ATM. We all are using the ATM cards and ATM these days a lot. What is the full form of ATM? It is automated teller machine. It is entered in India by late 1980s. We have three types of ATMs. That is, first one is the bank's own ATMs. Second one, brown label ATMs. Third one, white label ATMs. Let us study them in brief. Bank's own ATM. These are owned and operated by the concerned bank and carry the bank's logo. They are the costliest way to provide such service to bank's customers. This is the bank's own ATMs. Now the second one is brown label ATMs. These are owned by the third party. The concerned banks only handle part of the process, that is cash handling and back-end server connectivity. They carry logo of the bank which outsources their service. This is the brown label ATMs. Now the last one is white label ATMs. These are owned and operated by a third party. They do not bear logo of the banks they serve. In place, they carry logo of the firm which own them. They serve customers of all banks and are interconnected with the entire ATM network in the country. White label ATMs have a mandate to deploy 67% of ATMs in rural locations and 33% in urban locations. Now this is all about the ATMs. We have three types. We have studied about it in brief. Now let us move towards the next topic under the concept of banking, that is the small and payment banks. There are some guidelines are set up for both the banks. The guidelines are as follows. Let us read those. The minimum capital requirement would be rupees 100 crore. Promoter contribution would be at least 40% for the first 5 years. Excess shareholding should be brought down to 40% by the end of 5th year, to 30% by the end of 10th year, and to 26% in 12 years from the date of commencement of the business. Means this is given the contribution of the promoter. Third one, foreign shareholding in these banks will be as per current FDI policy. Fourth one, voting rights to be lined with the existing guideline for private banks. Fifth, entities other than promoters will not be permitted to have shareholding in excess of 10%. Means the other than promoters are only permitted to have the shareholding up to 10%. Sorry, in excess of 10%. Next one, the bank should comply with the corporate governance guidelines, including fit and proper criteria for directors as issued by RBI. Last one is operations of the bank should be fully networked and technology driven from the beginning. Means when the bank will open, on that day, from that day, the technologies will start working. This is all about banking concept. Thank you. If you like, please subscribe.